Okay, we are going to do some additional practice before we do our online practice with distributive property. So if you recall correctly, we were working about the distributive property distributes to everything inside of the parentheses. So the 6 is distributed to both of these numbers. They will be multiplied by each of the numbers inside of the parentheses. So let's look at how this works. This will be 6 times 1 minus 6 times 5m. Note that the negative sign stays on the outside, but we still have to have it multiplied. So 6 times 1 is 6 minus 6 times 5m is 30m. So this is our final answer. Let's go try this next problem. On this problem, we are going to have to think about our negative numbers. So this one becomes negative 2 times 1 minus negative 2 times 5v. Please again note that this negative is right here. So this becomes negative 2 minus negative 10v. Now we haven't covered this, but you can leave this written like that, or you can be aware that you have that's the wrong button. You have two negatives together. So if you can see that you have, let's see if I can make it a little smaller. You have two negatives together, so that means that two negatives become a positive. So negative 2 becomes plus 10v. We have not covered that yet, so if you just stop at this step, this is okay to stop there. Just remember that that is important. All right, let's look at number 3. We are still going to distribute 3 times 4 plus 3 times 3r. I usually put those in parentheses so that I remember to do them first. So 3 times 4 is 12 plus 3 times 3r is 9r. I'm not dealing with any weird negatives, so this one is done. Try this one. I'm going to change the color because I want to. 3 times 6r plus 3 times 8. This becomes 18r plus 24. All right, continue. Distribute 4 times 8n plus 4 times 2. This is 32n plus 8. Done. All right, this one is a little tricky. I am going to rewrite it so that it makes a little bit more sense to me. Remember, if there's not something outside of this, this means negative 1 times negative 2 minus n. Now we're dealing with negatives, so this is advanced. We have not covered it yet, okay? But we could still distribute and see what happens. So negative 1 times negative 2 minus negative 1 times n. Okay? Negative 1 times negative 2 becomes a positive 2. Minus, and because that's there, negative 1 times n becomes negative 1n. Like I said earlier, something we will learn later is that when you have two negatives, when you are subtracting a negative, it will become positive. So you can stop, but this becomes 2 plus 1n. Okay? Again, that is an advanced one. We are going to get into worrying about those integers later. Right now, we're just practicing distributing within. Okay, changing my color so we see it. Again, -6 times 7k plus -6 times 11. -6 times 7 is -42, keeps the k, plus -6 times 11 is -66. Uh-oh, I have a negative and a positive. So something you want to think about there is if I have a adding, a subtracting. If I'm adding a negative number, I'm really subtracting. So this is -42k minus 66. Final answer, but you guys can stop here. Okay, we're again going to distribute. -3 times 7n plus -3 times 1. This one becomes -21n plus a -3. If I'm adding a -3, that becomes -21n minus 3. It's the same thing. If I add a negative, then I'm subtracting. Okay? You're going to hear that a lot. I'm probably going to stop after the last one, but your main importance is to remember to distribute. -6 times 1 plus -6 times 11b. -6 plus -66b. I'm going to change this b so it's readable. Well, I again have these two together. That's going to make it -6 minus 66b. One more. We're dealing with these nasty negative. Well, they're not nasty negative numbers, just different. -10 times a minus -10 times 5. All right, so this will be -10a minus -50. Okay, when we put these two together, they are not opposite signs. So since I am multiplying by -1, that's really what that is, you're going to end up with -10a plus 50. All right. Main thing, we are distributing. All right.